So I'm Mike Pryor. I'm the pastor of Father's House in North Wales, and I want to introduce you to Naomi from Kfar in Israel, in southern Israel, the community that is just on the Gaza border. And I've been friends with Naomi. My whole family have been friends with her for over 20 years, and we are acutely aware of over 25 years of constant attack that she's lived under with her family in this community. And on the 7th of October, we all know what happened. And Naomi was present then with her family in that kibbutzim. So I don't want to say too much, because I want you to hear what Naomi has to say about the whole situation regarding the hostages that are still held by Hamas in Gaza. So Naomi, can I welcome you to Father's House in North Wales and just ask you to tell us what you know we need to hear here in Europe.
First of all, I want to really thank you, Mike, and all your congregation in the Father's House for never forgetting about us and wanting to hear our story. And I always say that whatever you think you heard and whatever you think you understand, nobody really understands, and nobody really know what happened that day. That day was a genocide. That day was a Holocaust. I'm a second generation. My father was a Holocaust survivor, and I'm also a Holocaust survivor, because the 7th of October, I'm living in Kfar Aza. It's a kibbutz near the border. I'm a mother of 4 children. We all miraculously survived that brutally attack. This was not a war, because in war, there are soldiers fighting with soldiers. They came in with one purpose and one purpose only: to kill all of us, to butcher us. And they entered our kibbutz, our peaceful kibbutz. It was a holiday. It was a morning of a quiet Shabbat morning, while they came, hundreds of terrorists, Hamas terrorists, with weapons. They entered our young adult neighborhood. They took our children from their beds. They raped our young daughters. They murdered and they molested bodies, and they molested young children. They entered every single house in Kfar Aza. They kidnapped from our safe place, our safe house. And we had 64 people, loved people in Kfar Aza, who were murdered that day, brutally and unbelievably horrifying death. They burned people alive, and 19 hostages were taken to Gaza. And we are now with 5 hostages still there in horrible condition, in tunnels with no light, with no food, injured, not getting any medicine, and not seeing the daylight, and not knowing we all are here waiting for them to come back. And the purpose I want to speak out now is to let you know that we can't survive, and we can't rebuild our community, and we can't go on living without them back home. I want to tell you about Emily Damari, she's a young woman, very lively, very lovely, and she was living in the young adult neighborhood. She's the heart of that neighborhood. Organizing parties and barbecues, and they just took her, and she's still there 171 days. And I want to tell you about Ziv and Gali Berman. They are twins from Kfar Aza, from that same neighborhood, my son's neighbors. And they were very charismatic. They are very charismatic young persons, and having fun all day and helping their mom and their sick father, and they are still there. And I want to tell you about Doron Steinbrecher. Doron, she is 31. She just celebrated her 31 birthday in captivity in Gaza. Doron is my oldest daughter, best friend, her soulmate, and we are all very sick for her, and we want her to come back home. And a veterinary nurse, she is, and we are waiting for her to come back. And I want to tell you about Keith Seagal. He's a grandpa, and he and his wife Aviva Seagal were kidnapped to Gaza. Aviva returned from captivity 60 days ago, but he is still there. A very kind and gentle soul. And it's unbelievable that 171 days our civilians, our people, our loved ones are there, and the world is not doing anything to get them back home. And I don't want you to speak and think about anything, because nobody can't eat or sleep or party or have a barbecue or have a Shabbat meal or have a trip to sit in the sun in the beach or whatever without them, because they are children. They are innocent people. They are there, they are suffering, and they have to come back home. They have to come back home to their families. They have to come back to their community. And until they won't come back home, nobody can go on with their lives.
Naomi, what are your views on the fact that the British government, because we're from the UK, the fact that the British government are giving aid into Gaza without the condition for the release of the hostages first? Have you got a view on that?
I think the most important thing, top priority, is getting out our hostages from there. There are 134 hostages in Gaza, in captivity. And first of all, before you do, and we had a horrible attack. We suffered. Our kibbutz is no longer, we don't have a house. We are almost 6 months wandering and refugees in our country. They came, they murdered, they butchered, they took our children. They have to bring them back home. And you don't do anything else before the top priority, this top priority, you have, if I may address the UK government, I want to tell them, before you help anybody, you have to help the families that are here waiting for them to come back. And you have to do everything to do your best to pressure Qatar and pressure whatever. Speak with who you choose to speak, but this is the only way and the most important thing. And I know it's not very easy for people to deal with such unpleasant things and to hear that horrible testimonies, but we saw it, we heard it. This is the truth, and whatever you hear is false, and it's a lie, and it's fake. You just have to listen to us. We are the survivor. We were there, and every second, every moment that goes on with the hostages over there, we don't know how and what kind of condition we will get them back, because they are barbaric and they are monsters and they are driven with hate. And it doesn't matter whatever you do, if you won't do a step now, you will be next. You will be next, because they will come back. They will come back, but they now know that they can do it, and the world will go on be quiet. So they will come to UK. They will come to Paris. They will come to everywhere. And they will do it again and again. If the world won't now be our back and help Israel and help the hostage family and use your power to do that. You have to remember, they are driven, every kind of democratic country will be under attack. They don't think we are supposed to be living Israel, and they don't think you are supposed to be living. Only one thing is the matter for them. They want to be a jihad. They want to be, they live to die. They make their death a holy thing. This is not our way. You have to do your best and to do whatever you can to take Hamas, the terrorist group, outside of the law, and you have to speak out. You have to speak out, and you have to do your best to never let nobody survive from that Hamas terrorist group, management, whatever, because they will rise again, and they will come, and they will kill, and they will butcher again. They now know that everybody is keeping quiet. They are looking the other way. Because what? Because I saw the Me Too group. It took them a lot of time, all the feminist group, to speak out. Why? Because it's Jewish people. You have to understand. They are now attacking Israel, but they will come to you too, also.
Naomi, I think in the West here there is an idea that the 7th of October was a one-off event. but I remember being with you in 2005 when the Gush Katif community was dragged out of Gaza, a Jewish community, um, uh, on a promise that the terrorists in Gaza under Yasser Arafat then would give peace to Israel, and Ariel Sharon brought the community out. But since then, there has been a continued attack, which has affected particularly the children. So, can you tell us about the 20 odd years of suffering that you've had, which has culminated in this 7th of October?
There won't be peace. There won't be peace. We all were in under a very romantic illusion that maybe you can, if you want peace, then maybe your neighbors want it too. No, it won't happen. They made us understand it very well over and over again. It's been 23 years of suffering and attacks again and again and again, firing rockets. When you hear in the UK that there was an escalation in the south, for us it means a couple of days that we are not getting out of the safe room, that our children are wet in their beds, that we are all in trauma for so many years, and not a single psychological therapy can make it right, because it never stops. It never stops. And it won't stop because they don't want peace. They don't want to live peacefully beside us or near to us. They just want one thing: to eliminate all of the Jewish people, to eliminate Israel. They don't think that Israel has a reason to be still here. And I don't think that all the West can sleep safely, because they have their beliefs. They believe that they are born to die, that they are born to be, like they screamed at that Sabbath morning. They screamed, Allahu Akbar, Itbach El Yahud, Allahu Akbar, God is great, their God, and there's no God from their God. And Itbach El Yahud is killing all of Jewish. They didn't came in and they asked me, are you for peace or against peace? They just came in and killed, and with one purpose only: to kill all of us. And it's a miracle I'm standing here to speak with you. And it's a miracle my children are alive. They are traumatized for life. And there will be an adult, damaged adult, what they saw, what they heard, the horrible and horrifying things that terrorists did to their neighbors and to their good friends. And the only thing to make a little peace in our mind is to bring our hostages back home.
Do you think that if, as Biden and Sunak and others say, that if there is a deal done and 10 hostages are released for 1,000 Palestinian Arab prisoners, do you think that is a viable proposition?
Sorry, I didn't understand. I lost you.
We hear in the West, we hear that Biden from America and Sunak, our prime minister, is saying that if Israel can do a deal for maybe 10 hostages for 1,000 Palestinian Arab prisoners, Do you think that is a resolution? Do you think that is a...
I don't want to talk about the price. I don't want to talk about the price. We are civilian. We lived in Kfar Aza peacefully. There are 134 innocent civilians in captivity. And I don't want to talk about the price. I don't really care what the price will be. The only thing, the only priority, the only thing that is important is bringing the hostages back home. Do whatever you can and act whatever you can and bring them back home.
For me, my personal view is that listening to you now, but hearing you over many, many years, there isn't an avenue of negotiation with somebody who wants to kill you. You can't negotiate, and that was the point of my question. Really, they must release the hostages.
They have to negotiate to bring our hostages back home. I agree, because they are in their monster hands. But I don't really want to talk. I don't really care about. Nobody of us cares about how many terrorists will be released from our prisons. From my point of view, empty all our prisons and bring our loved ones back home.
Okay. Naomi, can you tell us a little bit about just the life that Inbar, your son, has had since he was born? I know him. He's a gentleman. He's a young man of integrity. I have amazing admiration for him, and his personality and character is very peaceful. He's always wanted peace, but for all his life, it's had the attacks from Hamas has had an effect. Can you use him as an example of all the other young people in your community who have suffered? Can you tell us about his life and what he's suffered?
Inbar, like you said, is a very quiet and gentle person. Since the summer of October, he was in the young adult neighborhood. He's one of the few survivors from that neighborhood. We all know that they came in and that neighborhood suffered from a very horrifying attack, and most of our hostages are from them, and they killed and they burned houses there. And miraculously, he was with his girlfriend in his apartment while a group of terrorists made his apartment headquarters, and they entered his apartment and they bombed it. And after that, they sat in his apartment for a few hours, preparing all sorts of Molotovs bottles and laughing and speaking, and all of that. All of that hour, he and his girlfriend were in the safe room hiding, and I don't know how it happened. They didn't found them, and he was in the safe room for 30 hours. When the soldiers came to finally succeed to reach that area, because they couldn't reach that area. It was filled with terrorists. When they managed to reach that neighborhood, they were amazed to find the Inbar and his girlfriend Adi, because they thought that everybody there died. since then, he's suffering from panic attacks, and he doesn't sleep at night, and he has nightmares. He can hear them over and over in his mind, and he returns to that day. And he's been through a lot of psychological therapy and psychiatric therapy and medicine to calm him. And we all have our finger crossed and pray for his recovery. But I know that his soul and his mind are damaged because it's inhumane what we've been through that day. It's very difficult to describe a fear of death. It's very difficult to make you or anybody else, even though I spoke with you a lot of times, you can't really understand what is the meaning of sitting in a room while you know that every moment will be your last breath. And when you know that death is around the corner, it's not very easy for any of us. And I'm doing my best as a mom, helping to my children. And I really want to thank you all for listening to us and speak out for us. You will be our voice. And maybe it will make us some comfort.
Naomi, I think I can see the strain that has come upon you as you speak about these terrible events, and particularly with regard to Imbar and the children of Kaparazza. So we'll stop the interview now, but I just want to thank you so much, and
Thank
we
you.
will try and be a voice not only for you and the people of the survivors of that terrible day, but a voice for the hostages, and we will do whatever we can, but we realize it's not enough, but we can give you the comfort perhaps of knowing that we will try. But we will also pray constantly for you all, for the whole of Israel, and the people of Israel who have established a state in 1948 simply so that they could live peacefully, and yet you haven't had peace for one moment since those times, and your father is a testimony to that. So Naomi, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We've stopped the recording now, and just say, bless you, Naomi. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right.